have a Midwestern Talk weekly meeting now. How are you guys? We're
Pretty
coming.
good.
We're coming
We are
here.
doing fantastic.
Yes. Jack sent us a video about
Mhm.
his local news that we're gonna play for you. You guys ready?
Let's do it. Let's see if it's working.
Would-be homebuyers are facing some hard questions. One of the toughest is, can I afford a monthly mortgage?
Yeah, so the lure of the lower payment, that can be attractive. It has more people turning to what's called an adjustable rate mortgage. But as Channel 11 News anchor Gordon Lesh found out, you need to weigh the risks versus the rewards.
For many, a single-family home is a symbol of the American dream.
It feels like something that I could easily afford just 5 years ago. I can't anymore.
The higher cost of home ownership may be one thing fueling a financing option that hasn't been popular for more than a decade. Adjustable rate mortgages, or ARMs, are home loans that fluctuate after an initial fixed rate. They can look attractive to a would-be homebuyer because the starting rate is typically lower than a fixed rate.
But it's not for everyone.
Many homeowners saw that firsthand during the Great Recession in 2008. Many of the ARMs reset to higher rates, causing people to default on loans and contributing to the collapse of the housing market.
The ARMs that people are currently interested in, they're a little bit different than the ones that we experienced back in before the Great Recession, right? So that's good news.
Joel Larsgaard is a financial podcaster and co-host of How to Money.
I don't think ARMs are just like completely insane. I think they're at least worth considering for some people who are buying a home.
Larsgaard says if you're planning to be in the home for a short period of time, maybe 5 to 8 years, the rate shouldn't dramatically reset, and that ARM could represent savings in comparison with a fixed 30-year mortgage. But there is some risk. Larsgaard says adjustable rate mortgages typically increase about 2% a year every year after the initial fixed rate period. So he says it's important to do your homework.
I recommend people get quotes from at least 3 mortgage companies, a credit union, a mortgage broker, a local bank. Get multiple quotes because that's where you're going to save the most money.
Opening the doors for some people who want to buy instead of rent. Gordon Lesh, Channel 11 News.
So what do you guys think?
So what I didn't like about this news story, although I feel like, again, it's propping up doom and gloom, using the GFC as its prop, saying everything is going to be just as bad as his GFC, not realizing that they're not doing ninja loans anymore. And the other thing is, we are the only country in the world that has 30-year fixed rate debt. Like, how fantastic and lucky are we? Every other country in the world does the whole ARMs and adjustable mortgages, and so that's one thing. Commercial already works in that way. It's really just people aren't smart about their money and don't pay attention to what they're doing, is in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'm going to pass this over to you first, Len, because I'm the contrarian here. Well, I guess I'm not so contrarian.
No, you're not the contrarian because Jack agrees with you.
Yeah.
The doom and gloom, I guess I don't agree with, but I do agree with the fact that if you are looking to your primary residence, your first investment, then you shouldn't be looking for a variable interest mortgage. The beauty, and I'm contrarian, the beauty about living here in America is that we have access to fixed interest rate. And then so we should take advantage of the benefit that like the rest of the world does not allow that to happen. And that's why it's so important to like get locked into this fixed interest rate that you're not going to have to worry about what the Fed rates about rates. You're not going to have to worry about your mortgage principal and interest changing every month or every year. And that's why I don't think it's a good idea for somebody that's going in for the first investment, or even looking to, let's say, do the rate for now. It's like dating the rate for now that is going to be on your introductory period for 5 years. And then we're trying to foresee the future and then see where the rate is going to be in 7 years.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the delineation here for me is that I don't consider a personal residence an investment. I know a lot of people will say like a home is the biggest investment that people have, and it can be an investment if you think about that from inception. But if people are just buying a property and saying it's an investment, like when they go to live in it, I just don't see it that way. And I do think, if you can't afford the debt that's given on a 30-year fixed term, then you probably shouldn't be buying that house as, your primary anyways, because you're already stretched way too thin there. I do see using these 5-1 arms, or there's 5-7. I mean, there's all kinds of different arms that you can get set up. I see using those on investment properties because we can take advantage of the different rates that we're able to get and do our value add to the property, and then we can refinance out later into longer term fixed rate debt. But on personal residences, I think, like you said, you've been given it. Well, you both said actually, you've been given a gift here that most people don't have all around the world, and you're able to lock in 30-year fixed rate debt. So even if it's a point higher or 1.5 higher, or shoot, even 2 points higher, I don't know. I'd have to start mathing at that point, but I just don't think it's ever worth putting yourself in a situation where your primary, you could have locked in like maybe a 5-1 at 3. And then, a few years later, we're looking at 7%. That's going to do a lot more. Well, it's going to do to your personal finances what we see a lot of these apartment syndicators doing. You're going to have a payment that increases significantly. And, if you can't handle it, you end up losing the house or being forced to sell. So lock it in. Doesn't matter if it's a little higher.
So what do you consider as far as like what would actually be an investment for your personal property? Because like for me, I'll give you a second to think. I'll answer my own question. But for me, my thought is what Ryan does. I don't know his last name, but he has the RV and he takes pictures. You know who I'm talking about. Where he has an Airbnb in his basement, and therefore he's creating revenue. As far as doing an equity growth, like what most people do and say, this is an investment. No, investment's supposed to bring in money. If it's a gator, which any personal property is going to be a gator, because you're going to have a hot water tank that pops, and you have to pay the insurance, you have to pay the taxes, and you have no revenue generating coming in. I don't see it as an investment. Is there anything else that you could do to create monies?
Yeah, so the distinction that I have is a lot of people will justify buying like a better property or a nicer property or their dream property or whatever, and then they'll say that it's an asset when objectively it's not. This is also a time where I will stray away from like my traditional thought process of like you should always have debt on properties. I think at some point on the personal residences, I'm pro just paying the thing off, because you're just losing money paying the interest on it anyways. It's not like a rental where somebody else is paying the interest. Like you are, whatever the rate is, you're paying that interest. And if you really if you want to get real about it, you can look at the amount of interest that you're paying per month. I know people refinance periodically. I don't know what the term is on that, but then they reset their refinance period, or they reset their term, do a rate and term refinance. It's a lot more than 6 or 7% what you're paying, because it's 6 or 7% across the 30-year term. You're paying the majority of that interest up front. So, if a payment's $1,800, you might have $1,500 per month in interest, something to pay attention to there.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if I subscribe like the primary residence not an investment, because I didn't buy my primary residence as an investment, but looking back, it just became a great investment, regardless of me buying it for emotional reasons. Like I wanted to be a homeowner. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about like what I wanted to do via real estate, but just getting into the market when I got in, it's proven to be a huge upside for me and a huge investment, regardless if this is where I live. I rented out the rooms. Didn't have the plan to rent out rooms because I was able to afford the mortgage by myself, but I rented out the rooms. my appreciation grew significantly. I was able to get a HELOC on a property and then use the money to buy more rentals. And then now, house hacking again because I built a unit in the back. And none of those decisions came from like, oh, I'm going to buy this house to make money. Like, so I'm more like in the Dion kind of pathway, which like your primary residence can definitely be an investment. It's
I mean,
probably
it
the
can
biggest
be.
investment. But that was not the intention of purchasing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, and it doesn't have to be a intentional from the get-go, but you've turned it into an investment where before it was just like it was a house, and now it's investment.
I don't know. I feel like you in this situation have a really good example of like what can happen if you apply the real estate investor mindset to your primary residence, where I feel like I see a lot of people that they just buy like these I don't know, like just say new build house or something like that, and they'll say that it's an investment, but they're living there. They're not really finding any way to gain more equity off of it, decrease their payment or anything like that. And I mean, you can say appreciation and principal pay down over time, but I feel like there's better ways to invest your money to make more money. So I just don't think of the primary as an investment unless it's explicitly like bought to do that, or you can find ways to do that. It's not something that has to start that way, but I just don't like the idea of it being thought of as an investment and I feel like LOs are pretty good at pushing that too. Like, oh yeah, you got to build equity in your own home and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think there's better places to put money. That being said, you need a place to live. So not everything has to be an investment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have like the timing of like my family's never been like an entrepreneur family, but a lot of the things that we lived through could be seen as like we were investing kind of thing. Like my parents, we came here in 2008, and then obviously the market crashed. Right, my parents were able to get with 2 years of work history shown a condo here in Los Angeles for $125,000 when everything was slashed 60% of their ticket price. So they purchased that. They had the incentive from Obama, $8,000. Like at the end of the year when they filed taxes, they got $8,000 back. They only put down like $5,000 on the house, so they got paid to buy a condo here in Los Angeles, and then they sold that later on, like 5 years later, for like $350,000. They roll all that equity that they had into their actual home, their forever home. And to say that there wasn't an investment, even though they purchased a condo just to be homeowners to live somewhere, it's like, no, it definitely was an investment. Like over the course of 7 years, they were able to roll out $200K into their next house, and that this is where they're living. And not just my parents, but like my brother and my sister.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are able to do stuff like that. We're just in a different market now. Like I wish it was like 2010 where I could buy houses really, really cheap, because I have a cousin that he was a banker before 2008. He quit before that, and he started buying properties because he kind of got an idea of what was going on. So he ended up picking up, gosh, it had to be like 20 or 30 houses. He liquidated his IRA, and like within a couple of years, he was just chilling. Like he was just managing his own rentals. He was responsible, saved a couple $100,000 in his account, and then, he's just chilling from there. But I just think we're in a different period where we have to be more careful with things. I think part of it, like another thing that I was paying attention, that I saw recently, was on one of Mark's live streams. One of the guys from Pittsburgh, I think it was Ian, was talking about rates, historically are low now. Where, if you look at the 70s and the 80s, rates did, specifically the 70s, rates did go up to 20%. But it's a matter of like, where were asset prices then? Because he was saying like I see rates going to 11, 12. I don't see the same thing happening because asset prices are much more inflated now, and people literally couldn't afford it if we went to rates that high. We would just like gridlock the market. I think we're at a point where prices are just high enough to where I feel like we just have to be a little bit more careful. Back then, I feel like you could throw a dart at a board and like any house you bought would make you money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you just have to adjust to the timeline. Like, what is the time offering you right now? Like in 2008, when everybody was losing or foreclosure in their homes, was it the time to buy? Yeah, no ish. It was the time to buy. And then like during COVID, 2020, 2021, was it a time to buy? More competition? Yeah, but it was the best time to refinance then, right? Now we have the looming 50-year mortgage knocking on our doors. That is going to bring a lot of like demand into the real estate market, like a lot more buyers if that actually comes to fruition, right? And then also, like, what are you guys thinking about using that to your portfolio?
I'll use it in my portfolio. The problem I have with it is it makes me nervous because it will do artificially the exact same thing as if rates were much lower. So we're going to put ourselves in another situation where we have like, what was it? Like 2021, 2022 esque rates where we were at like 2-3%. Like, I don't think we ever really need to be there from a market perspective. And I think the fact that we even got to that point in the first place is what caused such a problem over the past few years. Of course, anybody that owns houses will say, oh yeah, I've gained a ton of equity. This is fantastic. But the problem is we took an asset that really wasn't made to increase by 20-30% year over year. And we did that multiple years in a row through having these super low rates. And now we're kind of paying the price for it. I mean, I see a lot of properties that we're at least looking at and offering on where I'm offering what people paid for the property, if not a little bit less in some cases. And they're just having to bring a check to closing, or, you know, some of the equity they paid down over the years is just being eliminated because they bought at a time where everybody was, you know, really active to get into the market and outbid people because they thought they would just get more money because prices only go up, right? I think that's what every lender and agent will tell you. But I feel like objectively that's not true. We have to pay attention to the market cycles.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can go on a rant about that like forever. What do y'all think?
I think I am not nervous for us, but I think is this the upside or the benefit of this market? Like we had a terrible market for the last 3 years. Not terrible, but like interests have been high, prices have not come down, lowest transactions in real estate ever. Flippers are not getting as many profits. But is this going to be the upside of like 2026, 2025 for us? Because not only is it going to bring more demand into the market, but it's going to drive prices up again. So whatever assets that we have already, they're going to appreciate more, right? And we're going to cash flow more if we use a 50-year mortgage.
I say, instead of doing the 50-year mortgage, why don't we just incentivize builders to build? Like, why don't we have them build houses that are like, you know, just a medium house? Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff I see being built now is like 3,000, 3,500 square foot McMansions that are like $500,000. And what we really need is houses that people can buy for like 200 grand and below, or maybe a little over 200 grand, because that's what a lot of people can afford. And if we can, you know, put more of that inventory on the market, it's going to drive down some of the prices of the things that we like to buy, which is good for us. And then the home buyers get better inventory, and we get to buy these, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s houses for, you know, less than they're going to be able to pay for these new ones, but they get brand new builds, and it's things people can afford. I did see a question in the chat. I did want to say hi to Jacek, and Homebody Trish. I'm gonna guess that's somebody you might know, Lynn.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, don't forget to like the live and subscribe if you haven't done already, please, so we can keep showing our faces every week.
Yeah, I'm not.
It makes me
buying
cry
into
if you don't like the video. I cry all night at work.
I think for a different reason, Jack.
It could be, but I'm blaming the lack of likes, though. At least that's what I tell my boss.
Like the video. Would you guys invest in New York? I know it's a hard no for me.
The city?
Yeah, New York City.
No. It's just it's just not worth the headaches. Like flat out. If out in the country, like there was someone in the group, I forget who, invests in Rochester, New York. I used to have family that lived there, and you're out of the city limits and stuff. Something like that, maybe I would consider. But inside the city limits, no.
Yeah.
I don't want the next sitcom of Friends being publicized out of my units.
What about you, Lynn?
I don't know if it makes sense for me. I mean, I'm in a market for cash flow, and I don't see how that could happen in New York. Aside from like me having millions of dollars and buying like a commercial building that was left behind because they didn't want to continue to rent when the rents were frozen. Like that's.
Well, you got to be really careful on buying the building there, because from what I've heard, they might start seizing the means of production.
Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to Iced Coffee Hour, and I forgot his name, but he's a realtor. I used to watch the reality TV show on Netflix called $1 Million Listings. I think he was one of those. Yeah. And he was saying a commercial building he transacted for like $59 million, sold for 17. And I mean, is that a pay cut? Incredible pay cut. And now it's back to $59 million. So does that make sense? Probably, right? Like, so, but I don't have $17 million, so I'm not going to say, yes, I'll buy it.
New York is a weird market. Like you can look at the pricing, and Sirhan's talked about it in a few of his videos, but you'll see it's not like anything goes up like in a linear progression. It's always like really cyclical. So you can have these insane price swings on properties like that. And I think the administrations that you have are also going to change things. What I was joking about is I saw this video of the guy that's going to be mayor talking about if people, well, one, rent freezing, but then if landlords aren't fixing things to the city's standards, that the city will just take the building. Not the best. Do I agree that people should fix things? Yes, but rent prices have to go up over time to account for inflation in property taxes, wages, and the cost of repairs.
Mm-hmm. They're saying after the mayor race and take advantage of the hype scare. Well, that was something that he was actually bringing up, like, right now, because people are scared, fear drives the market a lot. And the stock market and the real estate market, people do doom and scroll and they sell out of fear. So is it an opportunity? Not for me, but
it might be an opportunity for some people. I just think when you have somebody that is in a position of power like that does start talking about just like using eminent domain on personal and business property just because they don't like the way somebody's running something. I just think that that's outside the bounds of, looking at be fearful when other people are greedy and so on. Because at that point, in my opinion, it's just theft of personal property. But I don't know. They voted him in, so they get to deal with it. I'm going to just keep investing where I invest. To be honest, the other choices were not all that great. Like they already had Cuomo, and from what I understand, he wasn't good. And then they had Sliwa, which I was like, I mean, he sounds like a cool dude, but I don't think he should be the mayor of a giant city like that either.
I think the biggest takeaway from me is like how quickly he grew, like via social media. That is, it seems now as to set the norm. Like I don't know, I feel like social media had such a like hand on people's campaign this year as opposed to in the previous years. But I'm like, now I see it everywhere. How politicians are just trying to get like likes and views and movement towards their cause, and how social media is being utilized as well from politicians, like including the president, of course, right? But that's just kind of like insane to me because we don't resort to what the norm was, which is like looking at the news or reading newspapers or anything like that anymore. It's more like social media is the only medium now.
Yeah, and I think that's a really big problem because I feel like the majority of people are moderates. Like most people will agree on most things objectively. But when you put people in front of an algorithm that just feeds them things that, you know, like that maybe they liked a few videos on one side, so that now they start to just get like a loop of only things on that side. And then you see, oh, this is, you know, what this other side is doing. Look how horrible this is. This is crazy. And each side gets that. So then they just perpetually drive the two, like these people that would traditionally be moderates further and further to each side. And I think that's part of why we have some of the issues we have now, just because I blame social media completely. Because I want to say 10 years ago, I don't think I ever heard people really like, you know, going crazy over politics like you see nowadays. I mean, some of it is insane. Now there were like, you know, previous riots and stuff like that, but those were different situations. It's not just like, you know, a mayor getting elected or something like that, that, you know, there's riots on both sides for. It's crazy.
Yes, like that smash button. Please smash the like button. Jack, do you have anything?
New York sucks.
You know, I've never been, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, it just really depends on where you go.
So here's a question I was thinking about last night when I was listening to, was it Joseph Cabot?
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, you know what? If I'm going to butcher his name, I'm going to just really butcher it. Joseph Cappuccino. There we go.
You know.
Yeah, he'll love that. So anyway, I was listening to one of his videos, and he was talking about a what's it called that he does
Fractional real estate investing.
Yeah, so he was talking about fractional real estate property in the Poconos, and there's a few objections that he said no to property, but I had a few more objections to it that he didn't bring up. But my whole thing, I was thinking the whole time, is the Poconos is 2 hours from New York City, and it's 2 hours from Philadelphia. There are people that ride the train for 2 hours. So with everything that's going on, do you think places like the Poconos are going to start taking off? Because you could just ride to a train station and literally be in New York City in the same amount of time and live in Pennsylvania, where it's easier on taxes and easier in so many levels. There's less bureaucratic laws that you have, hoops you have to jump through. So is that something you guys think might be happening?
That's already happening. That's a really big thing where people live in like New Jersey or Connecticut, and then they'll just travel into New York City. That's been happening for a long time. Just, I would say, purely due to affordability or the fact that people just don't want to live in a big, like, there's people that love living in big cities. There's people that hate it.
There's the one guy, he's on Zuber's channel. If I heard his voice, I'd be like, yeah, that's him, but I don't know who it is because I only listen to him. But it's one of the mortgage guys, I think. No, it's the guy who talks about the markets. No. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he said he lived in New York for a long time. He's like, it's cool, it's fun. If you're in 20s, maybe your 30s, but he's like, after that, you just kind of want to move on with your life, and you just want something that's less hectic and stressful. And he did the same thing. I think he said he moved to Connecticut.
Yeah, you guys probably have stuff like that going on, right, Lynn? Where people like they're not living in downtown LA if they're working downtown LA.
Yeah, no, I live in Los Angeles County, but Los Angeles is huge, right? So
Yeah.
I live nowhere close to downtown, and I commute for work every day 100 miles in the car. So basically, yeah, I have to drive a lot for my
It's
job.
100 miles to work and back?
No, the
Oh,
whole
okay.
day. I drive and I have to go to patients' home, so I drive all day.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna complain because we have truckers in the community.
Yeah, that's true. They do drive for a living.
Yeah.
Your poor little car.
Trade Better 99 with would you all buy real estate using crypto?
I don't have crypto, so I can't.
I don't yet.
I have the same answer as Lindsay.
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about throwing some money in. I used to not like cryptocurrency for the longest time, and I don't really like crypto as a whole. The only one that I tend to like is Bitcoin because I see what countries do with their currencies. Just over time, inflating essentially inflating the value away from the currency. And also governments not allowing people to move money in and out of the country without, you can have millions of dollars on a USB stick and you can walk onto a plane and take it somewhere else. It doesn't even have to be on there. You can just have the wallet and then you can load the wallet on a computer in a different country. Like, I don't know. I think it's actually interesting.
If I was to do it, okay, so who's the guy that shows up on Mark's channel? Is his name Nick? The Bitcoin guy? What was that?
I think it's Nick.
Yeah, if I was to do it, I would do it the way he's doing it because he buys stocks of something that does Bitcoin, and then he does stocks isn't quite my thing anymore, so I forget some of the terminology, but like he does shorts or something like that, and he gets cash flow off of that or sells. And it's actually a very intriguing strategy of what he does. And if I was to do it, I'd do it that way because then you get cash flow out of it.
Yeah, I used to have crypto before, but I don't really have faith behind cryptocurrency. So I treated it like a game. So I just got in, got out, made some money, and then, but not significant, like maybe $1,000 to $1,000.
And see, my big thing,
and then lost some money. So I was just like, okay, got out completely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My whole thing is, I can't wrap my head around how is it any better or worse than gold or silver, because it's more or less just a encrypted commodity, more or less, that is only driven up by what the commerce say it's worth. And if it became unpopular, it would just fall to zero. Like, that's a very drastic thing. I don't ever see that happening, but it is potentially something that could happen. The same with gold and the same with silver. You could even say that with artwork, wine, and cars. Like, it's all what someone else puts a value on it for. So,
yeah, objectively though, gold and silver do have value because they're used in production. So, like, if anything, you could put the value on there without even like talking about jewelry or anything like that people make with gold and silver. When it comes to crypto, yeah, that is the big argument that I always have towards it, is that if everybody just decides that we're not going to use it, then the value goes to zero. But at the same time, we decide that we're going to exchange pieces of paper for things here there's 300 plus million people plus everybody outside the United States that agrees that this currency is worth something. So, and then we value it by, when we're cross comparing currencies, like we'll have a currency exchange there. Yet again, I'm not like a crypto max or whatever, like those kind of people. But at the same time, I'm starting to see the reason why people do push it a lot, and it makes me even just want to put like a little bit of money into it, so I have some, just to like be part of the thing, not because I think it's going to like $1 million or whatever, but just the simple fact that you can move money with that a lot more easily. It is like it's kind of like I have here I got a silver bar on my desk. This is not an investment for me. It's just for fun. You know what I mean? So Mark said congrats. I guess the Bears did good.
Bears.
The Bears.
Bears.
Trade Better 99 again with life goal investments. Oh, is that the person that you were talking about? Is that Nick's channel?
Maybe.
Or is he asking us what our goals are?
I don't know. Please specify.
And then Taylor ? Oh, could that be?
Oh, Taylor from Life Goal Investments. That's what it is. That's the guy that was in New York that left.
Oh. Look at him helping us out in the chat. We're just so delayed.
We got it.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
But have any of you started the search again yet for another property or refinance?
Told you I was gonna stay put, so I'm staying put.
Didn't you just close on one?
I did last month. That was last month.
That was last.
That's why she's staying put. She's staying put for a month.
Yeah.
Cynthia found one, but it fell through. It went a contingent way too fast. But I'm proud of her. She found it without my help. She did the research, and then she dropped the ball. But she's making steps.
What do you mean she dropped the ball? Somebody scooped the property?
Somebody scooped the property, and she never called the lender. She was like, she was like, well, I start work at. Her excuse was, I start work at 6, and then I get out of work at 6. I was like, yeah, but I talked to the lender, and he said he would take your phone calls up to 8. I didn't want to talk to him after I was done with work, and that's why he lost the property.
It happens. There's always another property to buy.
Yeah.
Never get FOMO.
There's always another one, exactly. And I told her, it's just like, and like I told her, it's just like, I love the property. I think it was a really good deal. But at the same time, it's like, you could buy cheaper properties. I don't know. It's hard to explain because like that one was good in a sense that, yes, it cost more, but it yielded the same as like my Cockapoos. And she could move out of where she's at now, have a bigger, nicer place that needed a little bit of work, which would have been a value add. She could have picked the worst side. She then would rent out her current place, rent out the other half of the duplex, live in the other half, and she would have all her mortgages covered and maybe about half of her bills
Nice.
just from doing that one move.
It doesn't take much.
No,
why I'm
and-
gonna with Kyle. We're going to talk about.
Oh,
we're gonna
no.
talk about cutting budgets.
She has a very low overhead in life. Like that's one thing I'll give her. Like she has no debt at all. She came, like her dad came from Italy twice. Came from Italy twice. And if you ever hear his story about the boat journey, it's hilarious. But so he came from Italy, and he like where he came from, they didn't have electric. They didn't have bathrooms, as outhouses. He's like, so like when he came here, it's kind of a shell shock for him because he's like, I come here. He's like, you have schools. He's like, you have schools. He's like, we didn't have. It's like everyone was home educated. He's like, when you think of like the old West here in the States, is what it was like back where I was. He's like, you learned your education from your mom, and he's like, and I made it to a very prestigious university. It was only that at the point where I realized that being a school teacher, you make less as being a high-end waiter at a frou-frou restaurant, which turns out I knew the guy. So I went and worked as a waiter at a frou-frou restaurant, made a buttload of money. And he's like, and I never believed in debt. He's like having debt in Italy. He's like, that's a no. Like they treat it as though it's a cancer over there. He's like, here, everyone's just like, yay, debt.
Yeah, I can relate. My parents have the same childhood, basically.
I did.
I
see
didn't.
that
Unfortunately, I was born here.
Unfortunately, it's pretty fortunate, dude. I see that Trish said she was behind in the chat, and she said she found you on Bigger Pockets, Lynn.
Whoa.
That's
Dylan
awesome.
was also in Bigger Pockets, Trisha. So 2 out of 3. We have to get Jack on it.
Jack, you gotta like retire soon so we can put you on the Bigger Pockets podcast. You don't have to be retired.
No, you don't. You just have to apply.
I will apply.
We can send you the link. You can go on the Rookie podcast.
I
They're
wouldn't
really
mind
nice.
being on a rookie podcast. I don't want to be on. I don't want to be on the one with Scott Trench and Mindy, because where they evaluate your finances and stuff. Because I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like that one's gonna make me too nervous.
That's like a financial audit almost.
Yeah. Like I don't want to. I feel like that would be right up there with I don't know. Like I would rather just not do that one. It's too stressful for me.
Mm.
It's episode 620, Trish. That's the one that I was on.
Mm-hmm.
You can go check it out. Oh, night. It's kind of nerve wracking to see it. Like, it's not a ton of views, but like compared to what my channel gets, like I see that one has like 9,000 views, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
You're
9,000
like,
people
oh.
watch that.
Yeah. Did you guys see the video that David Green and Robuild put on Getting Fire? Finally talking about getting fired from Bigger Pockets.
The
Yeah,
NDA
so I
has
sent that
expired.
video actually to Millennial Mike. Somehow I stumbled across it. It was like 15 minutes old. I was like, Mike, they used your video as the intro. I was like,
They did.
Yeah, it was a lot of what I thought it was, what they were saying, like just, talent too expensive. But at the same time, like the company had been sold multiple times. Like I think if it was Scott's, not Scott Trench, sorry, Josh Dorkin's company still, that it would have had like the original ethos of like what Bigger Pockets was. But they've just, once they sold once, it seemed like they kept it the same. Then they sold a second time, and they just started stripping stuff out or trying to replicate the success of the main podcast. And I think there's only a few of those podcasts that I really like to listen to. Like I'll listen to the main one sometimes, but my favorite podcast and why I wanted to go on it was the Rookie podcast, and then there's one other one that I really like. I think On the Market's pretty good, and then. Can't remember the other one.
I agree with a lot of what they said, and I disagree with David saying that all these little side BP things took away from the main one. I think they're trying to diversify in order to get more people to come, because you can't say that the Bigger Pockets Rookie podcast is competing against David Green and even like when it's at its peak, Brandon Turner. Like it's not like the audience is the same. Like you're not competing against each other.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, they're trying to expand it out so that different people are drawn to it. So like, you might like the, your Minnie Jensen and Scott Trench, where they analyze and audit you. People might like that aren't interested in real estate. So I disagree with David there. The one thing I didn't realize, and I just because I didn't really think about it, you could tell that like Brandon and David Green had a lot more fun with their guests, and it was more open and fluid. Where when it was Rob and David Green, it was almost like the fun was kind of sucked out of it. Like you could tell it was much more strict, it was much more regiment. And then David kind of mentioned that they didn't have any say in who the guests were, and they were told what they had to talk about. And more or less, anytime that they went off script, they got yelled at. And he's saying with Brandon, there was no script. It was just, hey, this person talks about this, and it just flowed.
Mhm.
Yeah, Lynn, you were on too, so I guess you can speak of this too. When I was on with Ashley and Tony, like there was no script of like, hey, at least on my end, like, hey, these are your talking points. You need to talk about these things. They did ask me questions beforehand to like learn about how I built a portfolio and like what I'm doing and how I got to where I am. But it wasn't anything that felt super rigid. But I mean, maybe there's stuff from their side. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely got a outline structure of what the episode was going to be. But no, I didn't feel like they were pushing a certain agenda, as opposed to like when David Green and Rob was on the main Bigger Pockets podcast.
Mhm.
I got into Real Pockets in 2021, and it became so many ads, like the actual podcast, that I had to skip the whole time, like syndication apps, rent retirement apps, like Turbotin and ads, whatever it is, like rent ready apps. Ads. So I knew, like, at one point this was going to go away because it was just becoming unbearable to listen to one episode every 2 minutes.
Well, that's why.
Skip, yeah.
That's why for me, I don't listen to the Iced Coffee Hour. I like, even though I have Premiere, I get so tired of listening to Graham's stuff and promoting his own stuff or whatever, item he's getting paid to talk about. Yeah, it may be a great product, but like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm not interested in. Look, guys, this week I'm sponsored by Cockapoo Milkshake Espresso, where every shake is filled with broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Let your diet look as bad as it going in as it does coming out. Like, I'm not interested. I don't care.
I don't know. I kind of want that Magic Mind sponsorship, so I'm not saying anything.
I know. It's like, we want ads on this video, so please reach us to us. We want partnerships.
I will do a mid-roll ad if you will sponsor us. But no, I get it. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's like that. I feel like a lot of the creators are pretty good about making sure it's only one per video, but with some of those podcasts, I do notice it's like, man, you got like 5 in the podcast.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like one, and if it's a long video, maybe 2. But Graham kind of gets annoying because, like, I understand that some of his videos are an hour plus long, but I don't want to hear 4 or 5 or like there's one that was 2 hours long and I counted 5 sponsorships, and it's just like, dude, enough. And you put this one in there twice.
Yeah.
You can change to members only. You can pay for the membership. Maybe they'll have less ads.
Oh, if you have,
I kind of don't even want to pay for it because he's kind of like, he's kind of like made me so frustrated with the channel. I don't want to pay for the membership. I'd rather just unsubscribe and not partake.
I actually like the Iced
there,
Coffee
Graham.
Hour.
You lost a subscriber. I will cost you 1 penny in an entire year.
Well, just like, but when you're doing your cleaning, that's when you're. That's what I hear the podcast the more. Like, I'm driving or I'm doing cleaning. What else am I going to be doing anyways?
Well, and the cool thing is, if you hit the skip button, like on your phone screen, like double tap, when they start that ad, it's going to skip to the end of it because that's where most people are skipping. Like you can see in the watch, like the volume of watch or whatever. Like you can see people are skipping through that. So, little tip if you can. If you're doing chores, you might not be able to because you might have like your hands in the dishes and you're like, no, I got to listen to this one.
I'm usually running machines and stuff at work. So it's just like, man, I'm stuck listening to another ad.
Yeah.
Oh my. But yeah, I did feel like, well, and the funny thing is, if you listen to Rob or David on different podcasts, like you can, there's a difference between when they were running the BP podcast and when they are just like on a podcast with somebody just like genuinely having a conversation, which I think is a lot of what gets taken away when you have to have like this structure. Like David was saying, it used to be him, Brandon, and one virtual assistant that edited the podcast, and that was it. I think that's all you need, because some of the best podcasts that I've seen, people don't really do too much research and like knowing everything about the individual, because they want to show up and just ask questions.
I don't think that was a recent interview, but did you hear like David Green on Ryan Piñera's podcast saying like he doesn't want to even talk about real estate anymore?
Oh, David?
Yeah, David, he was
I get it.
basically like, I'm just, if you tell me about house hack one more time, I'm going to lose it. And he is actually talking about majority of the negative things that happened to him from investing and scams that he paid money into, or houses that he bought 25 like with the purpose of burning and then was not able to burn and had to sell at a loss, and all of those things because he became so big. He was not, taking into account like what you have to do to like get when you buy properties, once you have to stabilize them and all of that.
That's fair. I think he may have just had too much stuff going on,
Yeah.
which it seems like a lot of the people in these positions do stuff like that. They're like, oh, I'm now famous and I have this brokerage and I also have this lending company and now I also have my portfolio. And it's like, well, just do the brokerage and the podcast and have your portfolio. Like that's already 3 things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he had to get rid of the brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
The lending, what is it? One brokerage?
I believe so, yeah. I think he's, or no. I think he has the brokerage. I'm thinking of the, what was it? The mortgage company or whatever he had.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's the one
yeah.
brokerage.
Yeah, I think he's trying to make it like across the whole country now, a brokerage company. I don't know. Like, I kind of hear him talk, and it's just like, dude, you just said that you're overwhelmed and all this stuff failed, and now you're talking about how you're making an even bigger, massive headache. And it's just like, when is enough enough? Like,
I actually think David Green is a great interviewer. Like he has a lot of like sold into his interviews and what he does.
Yeah,
he's a great.
I do. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I do think though that I can't remember if it was Mike or I think it was Mike and Dion that were talking about this. I like when I was listening to Brandon Turner back in, it had to be like 2016, because he didn't have the long beard. I mean, I've been listening to him since then, you know what I mean? But he had like the short beard, like glasses, short hair, everything like that. And he was living in Washington and he had like 20 something units and he was not working and he was running the podcast. I was like, that is somebody that I could see myself being like, and I feel like a lot of people had that opinion. So when they get to the point where they've like got this, massive syndication fund, I mean, good for them success wise, but for the average person that's listening to them talk, I don't think they ever want to do that. Like most people just want to spend more time going on vacations or with their family, and they're just trying to find a way to not work all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna have to dress up your podcast room a little bit, Dylan, make it more fanciful and have a bookcase
You're in your
behind
car.
you.
You're one to talk.
I have a beautiful mural of a back window.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do my podcast studio when you stop recording in your car.
I'm starting to build a podcast booth in a garage. So we're making huge improvements here.
Nice.
Coming to
Yeah.
you 2026.
Yeah,
Nice,
probably
nice.
like around July. It may be
July.
possibly done.
That's a
Maybe
long
2027.
Nice. I'm working on cleaning out my garage. I got too much stuff in there, and I need to park my cars in there because I went outside this morning freezing. You don't have to deal with these issues, Lynn. It's terrible.
What if, okay, so what if you put your podcast room in the garage, Dylan, and with your car, but you got it in your car, so it's not your podcast room. Like,
I need to get a really nice car if I'm going to do that. Then I can be
Wow.
like, well, I'm here in my garage with my Lamborghini.
a gremlin.
Aventador.
You can podcast out of a gremlin.
I don't even know what that is.
It's I don't know. It's some AMC. It's a horrible car.
Yeah, or like one of those spiders, like the 3-wheelers. Just something like that.
You can podcast out the Steve Urkel mobile.
I do not remember that show. Not gonna lie, I'm too young.
It was like another 3-wheeled dingy thing, but the door actually opened up through the front. It was so small.
Yeah, I did grow up watching Everybody Hates Chris. That was one thing I did watch, but I did not watch like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or anything like that.
How old are you, Jack? We don't even know.
36.
Oh, see, I would have guessed younger actually.
Yeah, me too.
I see. So it's weird because like when people talk to me, they're like, "Oh, I assume you're older, but like you look younger." So like I'm weird. I'm a weird one.
I don't know. Somebody asked if
And
I was
anyone
like
that's subscribed to my
this
channel knows I'm
person.
weird.
Where's your channel going now? I think that you're mentioning that you want to pivot to a different channel.
Not so much pivot. I want to rename it. I kind of want to rebrand it, and I want to change a few things about it. Okay, so what I'm thinking about doing, since I'm doing more handyman stuff, is I want to call it Dirty Hands to Fat Wallet, and that way it's more of a documentary and a story, which is kind of what I really wanted from the get-go. Is more of a documentary on my story of how, my story. And the overall goal is I've wanted to, since the beginning of this, to turn this story into a book. And the book is going to be called Dirty Hands of Fat Wallet. That's why I want to name it that. But kind of one of the things, and I got an idea from watching this guy. He's somewhere in Georgia, I think he is, and he does construction work and stuff. And he shoots the video, doesn't say a word. He's doing the work and stuff, and does a time lapse and fast forwards it, but then he's voicing over it. So my whole thought is on a lot of these videos that I'm just sitting in the vehicle without, other people in the podcast. Take these videos, strip the audio out of them, put it on a time lapse, and that way you actually have something you're looking at other than, the big, wonderful, dirty window in the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my thought. And that way it's a twofer for me, because then people that are in the Pittsburgh market will be like, hey, he does work. Hey, maybe I want him to work on my project. Look at how great he's doing.
I think you got a lot of investors in Pittsburgh to be able to have more than enough work without even trying to get your.
I think so too, and that's why that's why I don't really want to do that at the same time. But I think though it would make a better video if I did do the time lapse and split the audio at least. And that's kind of more what I'm after, because I'm already doing the work. How hard is it to set up my little GoPro and just be like, boop, and walk away, and then at the end do a live stream later that day in my vehicle while I'm driving, but instead just record it and then just cut the audio out of it and just combine the two videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's my whole thought behind it. Be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do more long form. I need to put a little bit more effort into it. That's why I've been doing the videos the past few weeks, and I'm going to keep trying to edit them a little bit more like that, because I feel like it's more interesting when you're watching a video that's been edited. Every few seconds it's flipping to something else. I didn't have something every few seconds, but it was like every 30 seconds it was switching to like display something else that I was talking about. So Yeah, just trying to build my editing style, trying to make it a little bit different. But yeah, just something that I would enjoy watching myself is really what I'm trying to go for. So I'm trying to combine some of the different editing things that I've seen in videos that I watch and just throw it all together and try to do something with it. But then share information at the same time. I don't know why I'm trying to grow it like that, like what the purpose is in growing the channel besides just like sharing content and growing the channel.
Same.
Yeah. So what is your biggest goal in your channels? Because I'll give you guys a second to think. My biggest goal, because I talk about this and everyone's like, oh, you're going to get monetized, you're going to do this, like they're telling me this. I was like, I don't care. Like I don't see my channel ever getting to 1,000 subscribers, and the watch hours is so ridiculously high that I don't foresee me hitting that either. But what I'm trying to do, and I think I'm doing a fantastic job, minus the fact that I need to just make the videos more entertaining, which is why, like I said before. But I want to help people. I want to help people that are investing in the local market, and I want to try to just share my story, and that way I also have a playlist I can reference when I go to write the book to then help people. And I want to build a community that is not so much. So, like, if you envision a pond, I don't want a pond that is 3 inches deep, but like a mile long. I want to build a pond that's maybe only 30 yards wide, but like 40 or 50 feet deep. Like, I'm trying to build a more deep community and not so much a widespread community. And I think I'm absolutely crushing it in that. And I'm very happy with that.
Same. I think I want those comments of like, this video really helped me getting into calling a realtor or like making that offer or looking into that market. Like that's, I think, my metric of success, not so much monetizing the channel. That would be nice, but I think that would just become I'm more exposed to more people, more so than making an income out of this.
Yeah, no, I've been just sharing like I forget who I was talking with about that, but if you want to talk about monetization, getting monetized on YouTube, like for ads, is not where the money is on YouTube. It's if you have a back end business or something like that you're selling something, like, you could have 500 subscribers and make multiple thousands of dollars a month. I mean, if you really wanted to, but no, I just like the fact that I can, one, if I go to create another business, it'll be really easy to, if it's something that's a service to the people that are in my demographic, I can just post something about it and I have an advertising medium there. But then also the people that you can connect with through social media by building up a personal brand. And then also a lot of my content that I do post is things that I've learned through investing in real estate. So whether they want to listen or not, I share the issues and successes that I've had in both commercial and not industrial, not yet, commercial and residential real estate. So I just kind of keep it as like a log to, hey, I'm 1 year in, or hey, I just did this and this is what I learned. Don't burn your money like this. I made a ton of money. You should try to do this.
So I'm going to have to hop off. I got to finish getting ready to go to work.
All right. You have fun with that, man.
I'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Right. I'll see you.
Oh, it's not letting me off. It's not letting me off.
You're trying live streaming right now, going to work.
Oh my.
Why is it not letting me off?
Yeah.
I don't know, Jack.
But I think this is a good.
This is a good point,
place to end.
anyways.
Yeah, good place to end this stream. And guys, we'll see you next week. If you want us to discuss any topic, leave it in the comments, and we'll take your feedback into consideration. Please like the live, subscribe if you haven't done already. So.
Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.